All right, everyone. Hello. Welcome to the first session of the course, right? I'm sure maybe some of you are a little confused about the videos, but these videos are like a little class, very good information about the grammar that you're going to be using for the entire unit, right? I am your professor, right? My name is Licenciado Joel Walter Salazar Newman. I believe there's going to be an intro video anyways. And again, we're going over Bachillerato, right? Smart choice, fifth quadrimestre, which means we're going to be going over units 5, 6, 7, and 8, right? For smart choice 2, of course. Don't forget that whether you have the book or not, all the info is going to be provided on the platform, links for everything. I believe even the audios for the activities, right? But let's continue on. This video shouldn't be too long, right? And I know I have my camera here. I didn't do it on some videos. I just think it's a little bit of a distraction, but I think it's okay. You see me, feels more like your teacher is talking to you. So let's go ahead and get it started. As you can see from this presentation, what does it say? Adverbial clauses, right? Don't forget we're going over the first unit, unit 5, right? Which is adverbial clauses, mainly talking about before, after, and when. So let's go down a little bit. What are adverbial clauses? An adverbial clause or an adverb clause is a group of words which plays the role of an adverb. Like all clauses, an adverbial clause will contain a subject and a verb. That's why it's called adverbial, right? Add, it means it adds to the verb. All adverbs, including adverbial clauses, can usually be categorized as one of the following: adverb of time, adverb of manner, adverb of place, adverb of reason, adverbs of comparison, adverb of condition, adverbs of concession, right? So don't get too confused, right? There's a lot of the information that we're going to. Don't forget that there's some main focuses that we're going over here in the book. And even though the explanation is a little long, well, once we start seeing the examples, once we start writing it down and start practicing, it becomes a whole lot simpler. So please stick with me, right? Adverb clauses of time. An adverb of time states when something happens or how often. An adverb of time often starts with one of the following subordinating conjunction: after, as long as soon as, before, since, until, when, or while. List of adverb clauses of time. So forget this looks like a lot, but again, this is the main and most of the information you need for this. And these kind of sentences are actually very fun because it gives you more flexibility when you're talking. It gives you a little bit more practice of how to use commas without getting too complicated. And it usually helps with uniting two sentences into one. So you don't have too many run-on sentences when you practice your grammar, right? So again, it says after, before, when, while, since, until, once, whenever, right? So again, the book, if you look at the book, right, you should be looking at the book. Don't forget that you have the PDF format and you should have the physical copy, hopefully, page 129, right, on the book. It covers some of that information. So it covers that we mainly focus on the before, after, and when. Obviously, there's a little bit more. And here are some of examples, right? After she graduates, she will get a job. So as you can see, when you use the adverb in the beginning part of the sentence, you put a comma on the second part, right? But when you use the adverb on the second part of the sentence, the adverb takes the place of the separation. So you don't need a comma. Here's a comma, no comma. Don't forget you can flip it both ways depending how you want to say it. So I will leave before he comes. When I arrived, he was talking on the phone. So don't forget that the ones that have the comma in the beginning, you do have to make a little pause. So that is very important. While I was walking home, it began to rain. I haven't seen him since he left this morning. As you can see, that sounds more like complete, more run on. There's no pauses. I haven't seen him since he left this morning. Instead of saying, since he left this morning, I haven't seen him. So you can see it's a different ways of talking, different ways of expressing, and you have to find the way you talk English best, right? We stayed there until we finished our work. Whenever I see her, I say hello. Adverb clauses of manner. An adverb of manner states how something is done. An adverb of manner often starts with one of the following subordinating conjunctions as like, how, and the way. I was never allowed to do things as I wanted to do them. I wonder how I learned grammar efficiently for almost 15 years. We sometimes do not realize the way God helps us. So again, adverb clauses of manner, right? So again, we're mainly focusing on the book, on the before, after, and when, but I like to give a little bit of a complete picture, just so you know a bit of the more broad aspect of the adverbs, because there's a whole different variety of students. And don't forget, our programs are efficient enough that you could just learn basic, you can learn intermediate, and you could definitely be an advanced student if you put the effort. Adverbial clauses of place. Those are some of my favorites. An adverbial place clause tells where the action described by the main verb takes place. An adverb of place often starts with a preposition. For example, e.g. means example. So don't get it. For example, in, on, or near. Or one of the following subordinating conjunctions. Anywhere, everywhere, where, or wherever. If I cough a little bit, it's just because I've been recording a lot. I've been doing a lot of videos. I've been doing a lot of work, guys. Don't forget that this might be hard for you guys, but for us, well, we have to prepare all this beforehand. And don't forget, it's important for us teachers to place a lot of quality. So I hope you appreciate the quality of my presentations and in the Zoom conference calls. You could ask your professors for any help. And I know I usually have sometimes students that look for me if they know me and ask me questions about English as well. Everybody presents a little bit different. Depends what you're looking for. List adverb clauses of place everywhere, where, wherever. And here are some examples. Young people have to go where they can find jobs. There was no comma there. But when you put in the beginning, everywhere we went, people greeted us warmly. She is always drunk wherever I meet her. Don't forget, all of these you could flip around, and that's why they underline them. You could say, wherever I meet her, comma, she is always drunk. So depends how you want to say it. Adverb clauses of reason. An adverb of reason offers a reason for the main idea. An adverb reason often starts with one of the following subordinating conjunctions: since, as, because, for, right? Right. Mhm. All right, guys, we're almost at the end. Hope you're sticking with me. Don't forget, I cover a little bit extra information. If you want, you can just watch to the point where it just covers the main information. But I really, really suggest that you watch these videos, watch them thoroughly, you take some notes, you have your homework with you, and really just watch these videos 2 or 3 times. It's really helpful, especially since I'm covering completely in English. Um, you have to get used to every different English. And some of these points I'm not gonna remember. I'm not gonna mention in the other videos. This is the first video of the class, so I'm just mentioning a few extra things. Don't think that every video is gonna be super extra long. I'll try to stick to the main points, but some things are a little bit more complicated. So here's some nice examples. I couldn't come to your party because I was rather sick. So because it's the separator, it is the adverb, you don't need a comma. The car crashed because the driver was careless. Since this is a library, sorry, since this is a library research, all sources are taken from libraries. As this is the beginning of the football season, there are bound to be large crowds at the match. And women were not supposed to be novelists. She took the name George Eliot. You can tell there was a little bit of pause with a comma. The manager dismissed Mary, for she was very lazy. Adverb clause of condition. Adverb of condition states the condition for the main idea to come into effect. Adverb condition often starts if, with if, unless, only if, even if, whether or not. Oh, yeah. Making sure that this is something that we're supposed to cover, or if it's covered in another area. I believe we cover this a little bit in some other sections of the book, but I'll go over with you. As you can tell, it's very similar rules, and that's why we put it all together, right? So eventually, once you start getting ahead after units and units, one grammar does start helping with another. That's why we tell students to take every grammar seriously. Sometimes they believe they know one really well. They kind of don't, and it sets them back on all the other grammars, right? If it rains, remember the condition is with the if. If it rains, it will not go out. She will come if you invite her. She will take this medicine whether she likes it or not. Even if they lose by 5 goals, people will still love them. Unless you love me, I will commit suicide. Okay, that's a little hardcore. It's just an example, right, guys? Don't forget the little pause after the commas. Adverbs of concession, used to express ideas or actions that are not expected, contradictive with the fact. Although, though, even if, while, whereas, no matter. Don't forget to pronounce that one right after a while. Whereas, whereas. Although he is small, he is very strong. No matter how smart they are required to do the revision. Even though the weather was cold, I went swimming. In Britain, the hottest month of the year is July, whereas in Australia, it is usually the coldest. Here's some aids that I got 2% with. And thank you so much, guys. I hope you really appreciated the video. Now I added a little video of myself. It feels more personalized. I have a lot of facial expressions. Hopefully, it doesn't distract you too much. The grammar stuff. And again, if it felt a little fast, please just watch the video a few more times. I will see you guys on the next video. Take care of yourself, guys, and wear masks.